Hi, this is Mrs. Kidman, and welcome back to our last video from section 2.1, all about polynomials. In this video, we will be discussing how we subtract polynomials or find the difference between two polynomials. So in this first example, we are going to combine these. Now, the way we want to do that is before, when we were adding them, what we could do is we could just get rid of those parentheses. Now, that's because really when we add something, we're multiplying it by the power of 1. A positive, or multiplying it by a positive 1, and that positive 1 makes it the same number. But when we subtract, really what I'm doing is I am multiplying everything. It's like I'm adding something where I'm multiplying it all by a negative 1 here. So I need to multiply each of these terms in this second polynomial by negative 1 to apply that minus sign. So when I do that, this is the expression I'm going to end up getting. 4x squared minus 3x plus 5, then I need to subtract 3x squared, so I'm going to do minus 3x squared minus negative x, so minus a negative, well that changes to a positive, so plus x minus a negative 8. Minus a negative is an add. So here we are, we got rid of that. Now when we're subtracting, it's really the same as multiplying it by a negative 1 and then adding that number, and that's what we did here. So now, just like we did with adding, we've written it in this order. Now I need to identify which terms have the same degree because I want to put those terms together. So here I am, I'm going to look and find which terms have the same degree. That's going to be this term and this term. And I am going to solve this just like I did when I was adding. So those terms have the same degree, those terms have the same degree, and these terms have the same degree. So then we are going to combine those terms. So I get 4x squared. Before I combine them, I am going to rewrite mine in standard form. So the highest degree is going to be on the left to the lowest degree on the right. The lowest degree in this case is going to be our constants. So 4x squared minus 3x squared. And then we have our minus 3x plus x. And then we have plus 5 plus 8. So then we are going to look and combine these terms. Now remember, when we combine terms that are alike, so alike means they have the same variable and the same degree or the same exponent. When I combine those, I'm going to combine their coefficients. So in this case, I'm going to do 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So I can either write 1x squared or I can leave off the 1. It's totally up to you. Remember, in math, we don't always write our 1. And we see that right here in this next example, negative 3x plus x. Really, that's saying plus 1x, so negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2, so I get minus 2x, and then 5 plus 8 is going to be 13, so plus 13. So in the end, the difference between 4x squared minus 3x plus 5 and 3x squared minus x minus 8 is going to be x squared minus 2x plus 13. That's the difference between those two polynomials. Let's take a look at this next one and review it all together. So in this case, we're going to find the difference again. Now remember, finding the difference means I need to apply this negative to every single component here. Or I need to subtract every single component. So let's rewrite this. I have my 4n squared plus 5. Now I'm doing minus a negative 2n squared. So minus a negative changes it to a plus 2n squared. Minus 2n, which is going to give me a minus 2n, and then minus minus 4, or minus negative 4, and that's going to be plus 4. So there we go. We've rewritten it. We got rid of that subtraction sign. Now it's just our addition problem, okay? Instead of writing this minus 2n, I could even write plus negative 2n if we wanted those all to be an addition problem. Now I'm going to identify which terms have the same degree, and I'm going to do it just like we've been doing it before. This one and this one. This one has its own degree, and these two. So then we are going to combine those degrees and write them in standard form. So highest degree on the left, lowest degree on the right, and we end up with 4n squared plus 2n squared plus negative 2n plus 5 plus 4. Now I'm going to combine those terms that are alike. Remember, in this case, my terms that are alike are the same color, but like terms, remember from the previous video, if we have like terms, that means they have the same variable and they have the same degree. And that degree, remember, is our exponent. So they have to have the same degree and that same exponent. Then when we combine them, remember, we're going to add the coefficients. So when I'm adding these coefficients, 4 plus 2 is 6n squared. Here I have a coefficient of -2 and nothing combined with it, so plus -2n, and then 5 plus 4 is 9. So the difference between 4n squared plus 5 and -2n squared plus 2n minus 4 is 6n squared minus 2n plus 9. Now, just like we did in the previous video, I want you to take a chance to practice these on your own. So take a second to pause the video. We are going to go over this first one. As you pause the video, write down in your notes how you think we would solve this one. Then, once you think you have your solution, unpause the video and double check to see what the solution that comes up on the screen. If you have the same solution there when you added those when you subtracted those polynomials, then it seems like you're getting it. If you had something different, go back through and double check your first step with my first step, et cetera, until you see where the mistakes are made. So now's a great chance. Take a look at it, see if you can do it on your own, and I will see you when we unpause the video. Okay, welcome back to the video. So in this first one, remember we have to distribute that negative. So that negative or that minus sign, we have a minus 3k squared and a negative or minus a minus 6. A minus cancels each other out and we get a plus. So then the next step is we have to identify which ones have the same degree. Notice we only have a 1 with a degree of 2 and 1 with a degree of 1 and then 2 constants. So that's what our problem reflects here. And then I combined those constants and I got negative 3k squared minus k plus 11. Now, just like we did before, take a second to pause the video and I want you to look over this next one here as example number 2. This one has 2 trinomials that we're subtracting. So let's combine those terms, figure out what the difference is between these 2 polynomials. Okay, thanks for taking a look at that. Now go ahead and check out this next example here. Remember, we have to distribute that subtraction sign to each individual term. So this is what we should have ended up with. And then we are going to write it in standard form. So those terms that have the same degree will be next to each other. And then we're going to combine those terms that are alike. So they have the same variable and the same degree. Now notice here at the end, we ended up with a plus 3 and a minus 3. Now 3 minus 3 is 0. So we can write our 0 term here, or we can leave it off. It's totally up to you. Both answers are totally correct. For the most part, we won't see a plus 0, but if you write it, you're still doing it correctly. Now, when we talk about these differences, there is a great chance for us to look at some of these word problems. We're not going to do this one, but if you want to try it, you can. This one has us throwing a penny from a height of 200 feet off a building and a paintbrush dropped at the same time from a height of 100 feet. And we want to know what is the distance between these 2 objects. Now we can do that. They gave us these 2 polynomial expressions, and we can find the difference between those if we wanted to figure out how far apart they are. That is a great way that we apply this idea of what's happening. Now, these polynomials and what we're doing here is really that idea of the math that you kind of do in physics. We're looking at these expressions that represent movement. We're finding the difference between them. It's awesome how much math and science overlap with one another. So thank you for watching this video on subtracting polynomials. If you have some questions, make sure you reach out to Mrs. Kidman. Come in during pack hour, come in before school, stop in after school, send her an email, send her a Canvas message, whatever you want to do, make sure you reach out to me so we know that we can touch base and make sure that you're understanding this.